Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching us from the world. My name is Alexandria, your host with the mostest. Thank you for tuning in to Uganda at Crossroads. Before we kick off this program, I want to send our heartfelt condolences to the community in New Zealand, the Islamic community in New Zealand. There was a gunfire earlier on this week. It's very tragic. We send our heartfelt condolences to everyone who lost family, everyone who lost friends, brothers, sisters, husband, spouse, everyone who's feeling the pain right now. Those were fellow immigrants, people who have journeyed from wherever they were from to go to a country seeking solace, seeking greener pastures, but they did not anticipate such a dreadful end. So we want to send our condolences to everyone out there. We're really sorry for what happened, and we feel bad. We want to promote love and not hatred among everyone who's in, even in diaspora as well, even in America. I know everyone is not feeling safe right now, being in crowded spaces. But please, let's be each other's keepers. Let's be each other's lookout, and let's continue to spread the love and not hate. With that being said, I would like to welcome you guys again to Uganda Crossroads. This is the platform where we invite you guys to share your views on the political situation that's happening in Uganda. We do talk about every activity, every outcome, every action that takes place in Uganda, and we keep up to date. And I bring people to you who know a little bit more, who are politically inclined to know a little bit more of what's happening in Uganda. They know the little specific details that are being hidden and they're not being brought out to you guys. So they talk to you guys and give you a chance to interact with them and love on them and understand what you don't know, what you're reading in the newspapers. I'm going to give them a short, very, very small interval to, to introduce themselves to you guys. It's the usual suspects. We do have a few new faces, but we're going to introduce them to you so you guys can have a chance to listen to what they have to say. So, Hillary, as always.
Yes, greetings to all dear viewers. My name is Seguya Hillary Innocent Taylor. I'm always humbled and honored to be here discussing about events that are found in our country. And I would love to see that we engage in a positive conversation that can lay a strategy to defeat tyranny in our country, because we are saying 33 years of tyranny enough in our country. So we are saying change is inevitable and change is coming. And also I would like to send my condolences to the victims of Ethiopian Airlines, and also the terrorist attack that happened in New Zealand. It was inhumane, and we should condemn highly as one people with a strong voice that hate has no place in this world, xenophobia has no place in this world, Islamophobia has no place in this world, intolerance has no place in this world, anti-Semitism has no place in this world. So we have to live as one, and we have to spread the issue of love every day, because love wins at the end of the day.
All right. And Babire, let's have you say something.
I'm Babire Laila, and thank you for hosting me, and I'm so happy to be here. And here to hear from my fellow comrades in the struggle. And we're also here to learn from each other. Thank you so much. That is what I should say for now. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you.
Sarah, as always, it's always happy birthday. For everyone who's watching us, it is Sarah Bakanansa's birthday. And
tomorrow. My birthday is tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
don't make me come out early. my birthday is happening.
So everyone who's watching
my birthday is happening tomorrow. So anyone who wants to send their wishes, hold them for now. Don't make me rush to come out. Let me come out tomorrow of the womb. As in, don't rush me out. Tomorrow is my birthday. St. Patrick's Day is my birthday. Guys, I'm glad to be here. It's always interesting sitting here and discussing basically the drama theater or comedy theater of what happens in Uganda. Every time it's always something interesting. I'm always wondering when is it going to stop? But again, it gives us a chance to always sit here and highlight on the different things happening in Uganda.
All right. For everyone tuning in, if you are a fan of this show, we do have major people who are always tuning in every single time to watch this show. Please share the page. We want to thank you for always being on time and watching us wherever we air, sharing the page whenever we air. We see the page being shared all over the world and want to thank you. We have people watching from Japan, from China, from New Orleans. Recently we had Paris. So this show is something that goes beyond borders, and we try to keep it friendly for everyone who's watching. We do ask you forgive us sometimes. We try to change into Luganda a little bit, change into English, but we hope that the show can be watched by as many people as possible. We try to be we try to use English as much as we can because it's a unifying factor for everybody. So if you're watching us, share the page. If you have a person, a friend, a neighbor who you know is interested in the politics of Uganda, interested in the politics of Africa and how Uganda influences the rest of the world, please get them to come and watch with you. Invite as many people as you can so that we can have a very awesome and very interactive interview and talk show. So for now, I want to just jump right in with you guys. We will have, just to give you a heads up, we will have another guest who's really a correspondent. He's going to be coming in all the way from Amsterdam, and you guys will get a chance to talk to him and interact with him. You guys on Facebook, you watch his live chats. He's somebody who, he blogs and talks about all the issues that are happening in Uganda. He's very, very, very passionate about what happens in Uganda, and hopefully in the next few minutes we'll have him online. So if you do see him, say hello. All right. For now, I think he's ready right now. So we do have Alderman Daku, all the way from Amsterdam, and he's going to be one of the panelists who we're going to be talking to today. So I don't know if he's hearing me right now. If you can see me, Alderman, if you're online, please say hello to everyone watching you, and then we can continue on with the conversation. Whenever he does get online, we'll say hello to him. But for now, I want my correspondents to just start answering a few questions because I'm very curious about the situation that happened in Uganda over the last few weeks. So beginning, as Hillary must have mentioned, earlier on, we had the Ethiopian airline crash, and it was very tragic. We lost over 100 people. We also lost one of our own. We had a Ugandan lady who was working there for the United Nations who lost her life, and we're very saddened by the news. So I want to first ask you guys right now, because recently, last week we talked about it. Uganda launched our 80-seater airline plane. How safe are we? If this is happening right now, how safe is the Ugandan airline in comparison to the Ethiopian airline that went down? Are they trained to handle such, I don't know, we don't really know the details of what happened, but are they trained to handle such emergencies right now in case something happened of this nature? Are they trained enough to handle the software, to know the protocols? Should we be worried? And I don't mean to advertise it in a bad way, but what should we be worrying about right now in regards to what happened earlier on?
Yes, as a continent, of course, this is a setback to our continent, and all African countries have to learn lessons from what happened. It's a collective responsibility that we should look at this issue, because we cannot entirely blame Ethiopian Airlines. We have also to blame the manufacturers of these planes, Boeing. So I'm glad that Boeing has come up to give us some statements on what could have been the cause of that. But again, also as schools of thoughts that have come up, there are also claims that maybe the pilots of our airlines are not fully trained when it comes to the upgrades of these softwares. Sure. So since I'm not an expert in aerospace, I would just talk as an ordinary person to give an insight on this thing, because even in Uganda now we have airlines we've just bought. Because for us, we're buying Airbuses. We've not reached that extent of buying Boeing. So Airbus is a bit smaller. And let's hope that our pilots are fully trained, because as we heard last time when the president was bragging about the airplanes he bought for our country, we were informed that we only sent 2 pilots to Canada for the training. So it raises lots of eyebrows to see that we are not fully training these pilots. So if a nation is only sending 2 pilots to Canada to be trained in the Airbuses we are purchasing, then that's the weakness of our government. So I would expect all pilots to be trained about the upgrades of these softwares, because any slight mistake like this is going to lead to an accident. And we cannot afford losing lives like this when it's a recklessness of a few individuals. So we should make people who are accountable to see that we bring justice to the victims or their families. Because if you look at that loss of 157 people, people from all over the world,
that's a big number.
A big number. And if the families are to unite and they sue Ethiopian Airlines, then very soon you may see that the companies, getting dissolved because they can't, come up with compensation to all the victims. Then Boeing is also, if it's to be sold, then also it's a loss to the company.
It's a big loss.
Because even as people who are investing in stocks, if you're trading in stocks and you're trading in Boeing, then that's a huge loss to Boeing. But I'm glad that very many world leaders have come out to say that let's ground these Boeings, because maybe something's not so clear about it, because if the same accident had happened in Indonesia, then after a few months it's happening in Africa, and that's a huge setback. And also we say condolences to the Ugandan who was also part of the, the dead people. She was working with the African Union, and that's a huge slap also. The UN also lost about 8 people. Also, everyone who died, really, this is a huge setback. So it's a lesson to the president of Uganda, Museveni. Let him, train our pilots fully, and let him also, because we don't know if the pilot was maybe weak, or he was fully trained, or he was sick, or he didn't have any sleep. He didn't have enough sleep. So we have to look in all those issues. What went wrong? Why did we come to this extent? What's the essence of the parachutes on the airplanes? Can we sue the manufacturers of the parachutes, because we've seen that they are not saving people anymore? So as Donald Trump was saying, that maybe it's time to bring students from MIT to find ways on how we can solve these issues that are happening with accidents of the planes. But I'm hopeful that a solution will be forged to this tragedy.
All right. Before we continue, I do want to recognize Adaman Daku is online, and I want to just make sure that he's online hearing us properly. So Adaman, are you there?
Oh, yes.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yourself a little bit, and then we can continue on with the conversation.
All right. Not IGP before. And I'm based in Amsterdam, I'm Ugandan.
All right.
So that's it.
So we want to thank you for just giving us some time to talk to you and interview you and hear what your opinions are in regards to what's happening. We were talking about the plane that went down, the Ethiopian plane that went down earlier on, and we wanted to see how Uganda, with its many shortcomings, how are we going? Are people trained enough to deal with situations that are going to be happening in the next few situations like this, in case something of this magnitude happens? If we are trained enough to handle it. So that's where we were from, and we wanted to just give you a minute to give us your views on that matter before we continue on to the rest of the ladies.
My view, I think Uganda is far away from a close. So we are not trained enough. We don't have enough capacity. We don't have people qualified and to help people to come this. I think it needs 2 or 3 more years to train people. It's too fast for Ugandans. So, it's like more time to prepare. Because first of all, we've been without our own plane for years. And sudden, because of the China, effect went up. Not yet. So that's what I think.
All right. Thank you so much. I think we're having some difficulty, but we're going to iron that out in the next few days. Sarah, I'm going to divert this question to you, just so that you can close up on this conversation. in regards to the tragedy that happened with the Ethiopian Airways, do you see us getting anywhere? We cannot be training only 2 air pilots each year. We cannot afford to train only 2 pilots. We have more pilots every day. What is Uganda doing to make sure that this doesn't happen again, or we don't fall into such a trap, or this happening again? What is Uganda doing in regards to the Ethiopian plane coming down?
I think before even we worry about the pilots, we need to worry about the junk that has been brought. Is it of quality? Because, this is not the first time Uganda is buying Mivumba planes. It has done it before. So have they really put in money? Because one of the things we do best, we are very good at buying junk. We are very good at buying substandard stuff. So before even we worry about the pilots, we should worry about the Airbus we bought. Is it of quality? Is it of the current technology? Is it something that is that meets the standards of? Is it something that is supposed to be doing internal charters, just like you see airlines here like Delta, like they don't fly outside the United States. They are meant for short distances. Is it something that is supposed to fly you from Kampala to Kabale, from Kabale to Karamoja? We should know, because there are Airbus that are made for short distances.
For shorter distances,
yes.
yeah.
But if it's something that is going to take Ugandans out of, maybe fly outside Uganda, then we should check out the quality. It's so absurd. You talked about the captains. The pilots, one of them is, in fact, is related to the president. He's the president's sister, the son, is one of the people that have been training in Canada as pilots. So I don't know whether it's based on, does he qualify, or it's because his family. So many things.
It's connected.
Yes. So many, and there's been so many stories about who is going to run the Aviation Authority, the airlines itself, and it's been said that it's going to be Patience, the daughter of President Museveni. And as far as the information I've gotten, she failed exams. Yeah, she failed exams, and she was, the teacher who was teaching her at the aviation school was forced to make her pass. Yeah, he was forced to make her pass, whether she's good or not. So people have to be careful, because Uganda, they don't take, you should look at it, they don't take people's lives seriously. And I wouldn't want even a family member or anyone to risk their lives onto, yes, you can say let's promote Uganda, but I don't want anyone's life to be risked onto something that has not been verified. I think we need an external, maybe an external, someone from externally from good airlines to come and evaluate and say, okay, this is really good, that Uganda requires. Because if you read the story of how this was acquired, Uganda deposited some money, and the company in Canada was going to take over the money if they did not, pay up. So I'm like, is it something that they rushed to because they couldn't lose the money they had deposited? So it's all. One thing I would say, Ugandans, be careful. We have to promote Uganda, but again, you have to be careful, because if you have a government that keeps doing substandard stuff all the time, then you shouldn't put your life out there.
Leila, what's your view before we go to the next conversation?
Thank you very much. What I should actually talk about first, I would feel sorry for Uganda, and I'll first send my condolences to the people who died in Ethiopia. And the reason why I'm feeling so sorry for Uganda is this now comes back to our country, just like Sarah has said. And I was so worried, and the first post I made when the boring was kind of banned in different countries here in America, Europe, I was so scared for our country, for African countries in general. The second thing I thought about, our presidents are going to buy these borings, however much they've been banned, because they're now going to find reasons of buying these things cheaply, or else they have to be, because they have to dump them in Africa. So I was worried for the whole of Africa. It's not only Uganda, because we are good at buying substandard things in Africa. This is not going only to Uganda. We should worry for the whole of Africa because of corruption, because we don't want to spend. We're not ready to spend on good things. We're not ready. So these things are going to be brought back to Africa. And trust me, we should worry about Africa, and we should start making a campaign, more especially people from all over the world, people who travel back to Africa, so that these borings cannot be dumped in African countries. They should be, if they're banned, let them burn them with fire, seize them to ash. Seriously, that is what I should say.
But you said a funny thing to add on what you said. If, for example, you'll take those junk stuff from either Uganda to somewhere, and then you'll change into an amazing plane. If they will never take you to either America or Europe into their junk stuff, I guess they're not allowed to land onto their airlines, onto their fields. They're not allowed to land. Because if you notice, for example, wherever you're coming from, if you travel from, the only one that has managed to maintain it is the Turkish Airlines. If you're traveling from Europe, because they have a stopover in Rwanda, pick up people in Rwanda and come to Uganda and continue, so you'll get a good one. But the one still going, if you're going to Europe, it's always a better one, a better version. You're like, where has this been? With the Wi-Fi, everything you need. In case you get a problem, your phone is never off because there's networking there. So I wonder why all this junk keep operating in African countries. And when it comes to Western world countries that are developed, they don't come in.
All right.
Well, Moderator, I think for me, I'll somehow differ a little bit with my colleagues on that issue, because I doubt that Boeing, if you look at that company, that it can, create a junk plane and,
send it out there
throws
into
it
the
to
world,
Africa as a continent, because Boeing knows it very well that their planes are supposed to transport all people all over the globe.
The world, yeah.
So Americans will be boarding that plane, Canadians will be boarding that plane, the French will be boarding that plane, and also the Africans will be boarding that plane. So at the end of the day, if an accident happens,
it goes back to them.
All of us as people of the world are going to be affected. So I believe they follow the standard procedures of manufacturing those planes. But again, it goes back to individual countries. What input, what finances or resources are they putting into fully train their pilots? Because if you watch the interview that was done with the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, I saw lots of loopholes in his views he was giving the public, because they were asking him, did the company fully train the pilots? So he was just saying things like, Boeing sent us a software and we made sure that everyone learns how the software operates. So he was dodging to answer the question that, did you fully train these pilots about this Boeing 737 MAX 8? So Ethiopian Airlines, I think, also had that weakness. They didn't send people to America to go to the Boeing company, and they teach them fully how the software upgrade could work on that plane. So it's so sad, but I believe that the international community has picked interest in this thing, and we shall get remedies to it.
All right. Before we continue going any further, let me just recognize for watching us. We have Candy Chan watching us from Dubai, and then we also have Sarah. Well, we also have Koja Max is also watching. Thank you so much for watching. Chizito Godfrey, thank you. You're one of our own. Thank you for always watching online. We also have a lot of you guys who have been posting. Please share with us where you're watching us from, because we want to know where we haven't yet reached, and then just push forward to bringing you these programs as well. So let's just jump into the next one. I'm going to pass this on to Alderman Daku, because I want to hear your opinion very well in regards to the matter that I'm about to talk about. 1.3 trillion shillings were paid earlier on by Parliament. It was passed and paid out to an Italian investor to build a hospital in Lubowa. So I am really confused. There's so many details that are coming out in regards to this topic, because it's such a big issue. when I was growing up, I knew an investor is somebody who's going to come and take in, they're going to bring their own money, come and, say, hey, I have this amount of money and I'm going to give it to you so that you can build, or you can do this, or you can start this, or you can invest in this. That's how I knew an investor to be. But maybe the phrasing is on that we're getting wrong, or maybe there's some communication somewhere. But I am hearing an investor coming to Uganda. Why should we be paying an investor 1.3 trillion? That's money we don't have already. Where is this money coming from? We are paying him to build a hospital in our own country. Couldn't we take 1.3 trillion, indulge in my own, teach the people, our own people, to build this, give them the necessary jobs? Is this, why are we paying 1.3 trillion shillings to an investor? Is what I'm going to lodge to you. And Alderman, I want to just start with you, because I think you were vocal about this issue. I want to start with you and see what you have to say in regards to this issue.
Thank you, sister. It's very sad to be in that situation in Uganda with no medicine, like Jane, and and here we are built very expensive, but with the people, in a country that people have gone. How is this going to work? It can't work because somebody after 3 years, you will see that some playing conquered. It's just politics. Uganda at the moment will change with people work for it. Best of the people. Unhappy. And all the institutions in Uganda, all about business. Personal business. Here's a hospital which is going to be built, but you have no facilities in other hospitals. You have no medicines, the beds, doctors are not paid yet in time, and yet you put something huge like that with a lot of Western taxpayers money. To be honest, if you have somebody who's good, encapsulated, they'll come up with different, that amount of money they are using, or they are telling you to be spent on building that hospital, maybe like four times big amount than supposed to build or spent on building that hospital. It's all propaganda. People are trying to play with Uganda. Hospital is not something we really need now. Our problem is huge, and also
I think I get the gist of what you're trying to say. Thank you again. I know we're having network issues, but we can hear you, and thank you for just giving us your view on the matter. I'm going to start with Leda. Why did the government see it fit to have an investor come in, someone from outside come in? Why couldn't it invest in its own people first? Because again, we have no jobs in the country. There's so many youth who are trained, who are teachers, who have learned, who are educated. Why couldn't the government start with home and then build outside?
It is quite interesting. And at times I laugh things like this, actually, when you look at things like this happening in our country, seriously. If you can't laugh, then you're sick. Seriously, because first, who is an investor? We have intellectuals in our country. I looked at the member of parliament discussing it very well, telling us, convincing the people of Uganda that we need to invest 1 trillion to build this hospital. Selfishly, one MP was saying, because most of us, when we get sick, we need to go to Europe, all over the world to be treated. That is why we need this kind of a hospital in our country. And another MP actually reasoned them out and gave 33 districts in Uganda that even don't have small clinics. To me, I feel the government is trying to play on our heads, but we are very smart. We the youths, actually we the 75% right now cannot think like them who are actually the 25% of our population in Uganda. Because when you look at this stupidity, they're trying to bring, how dare you get 1 point whatever trillion and give it to an investor? I'm not an intellectual, and then I start finding myself and say, who is an investor if we give to investors? Ugandan government is just playing on us. Probably maybe they're trying to trick us. We're not going to see these hospitals. Seriously, it's not going to happen. Nowhere.
Is this the same situation as when they told us that they were bringing Cuban doctors into the country? Because that might have been like a scam of some sort. Are we seeing this as a scam? Sarah, are we seeing this as a scam project that, you know, they just want to get that money and use it for other endeavors? Are we seeing the same repeat of whatever happened earlier on in the year?
I'll start by saying, whoever, guys, I want you to watch the MPs closely. Any of these MPs that are suggesting that you need to give this money to investors, if they come from your constituency, please, 2021, save us from these hooligans. We cannot have people who do not feel for Uganda into the Ugandan parliament. We cannot have selfish people into the Ugandan parliament. Because you're giving 1.3 trillions to an investor, then you're going to give him a tax holiday for 10 years. He's not paying any taxes. And then from what I was reading, he's going to be given the hospital for 5 years without giving back anything to government. And after 5 years, he's going to hand over the hospital back to government. But it's all, like, even if we had to use common sense, he has spent nothing. So you're giving him a tax holiday, and you're giving him 5 years collecting money over spending nothing. Let's look at people we have in Uganda that can build a decent hospital using that money minus bringing an investor who is going to bring expertise from outside and then deny Ugandans jobs. Look at the new URA building. The structure of that building, the architecture was done by a Ugandan. It was a Ugandan who drew the plan of that new URA building. Very beautiful, done very wonderfully. You have every year graduates of, from the School of Architecture, from Makerere University.
Sure.
Where are they studying? Put a team of 30 graduates. Because I don't understand, is the 1.3 trillion meant to just put up the structure? If it's putting up the structure, get 50 or 100 students of architecture, put them together and let them bring their brains together and give you a magnificent building. And then if you want to equip it, you have so many brain drain coming from Uganda. You have so many doctors that have left Uganda. You have so many doctors. I have a friend of mine who left Uganda as a doctor, came and trained, is now working as a doctor here. Have those doctors return home. And then they can help you, because some of them are already here doing surgeries, doing a lot of things. Because it is, and now this takes us to the fact that the government, Museveni's government, has completely lost it. We have members of parliament who are meant to be either cattle herding, they're supposed to be doing completely something different. They're supposed to retire, go into farming, and the president is supposed to save us the burden of talking about him every day, go and look after his longhorn cows in Rwakitula. He would save us talking about his name every day. But it is so sad that we are talking about investment, and then it's us giving investors coming in money. That's why you have Indians selling pancakes in Kampala. Ugandans are jobless, but you have Indians selling pancakes in Kampala. Indians are almost taking over Nakasero market. Chinese, you're going to find them selling tomatoes in Kampala. I saw a Chinese woman on a mobile money stand. That's why Uganda, and I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
You know they say Ugandans are violent, or people who want change are violent. But if people are looking for what to eat and they can't find it, and even for the simple jobs they should be doing, like mobile money vending, a Chinese woman is seated there doing that. What do you want Ugandans to do?
Hillary, what's your view? Because this is your expertise. Anything that concerns this is where you're going to be on the spotlight now. What is your view in regards to what's happening with this?
Well, there are lots of things we can look at in this perspective, because it's a shame that we have parliamentarians who can act in such a way. You see, recently they were in the case of Bobby Wine about his fiscal policy. But here we come, we have parliamentarians who call themselves experts in monetary policies, experts in fiscal policies. But again, look at the things they're doing. How can you spend what you don't have?
Exactly.
That's what I was going to ask.
So-
Where is the money coming from? We're already in debt. Where are we coming?
We are totally disappointed in our parliamentarians. This parliament is one of the worst parliaments we've had in the history of Uganda. And it's not the first time they're doing such things. So we are coming to 2021 elections. And you know how Museveni operates. He commercializes politics. Right now, with what happened in our central bank, our reserves are empty. So he emptied all the central bank of Uganda. Now Museveni is trying to look for money to finance his campaign come 2021. But Ugandans can't see this thing.
He's gonna
So
go
we
to
have to
Chinese.
open up our eyes as Ugandans.
Well said.
That NRM has started their fundraising indirectly because they know that Mutevile right now, he advised them there is no more money in the central bank. Can we find different ways? So as mafias in this regime of Mr. Museveni, this is how they operate. So how can you even tell us that an investor, a foreign investor, you're giving him 1.3 trillion, can't an indigenous investor do the same thing as the Italian investor? Because we have many Ugandans with the potential. But where is this government? And right now, we don't need more hospitals in our country. Can we first focus on the few hospitals we have? Then we provide all
them.
the equipments that are needed in those hospitals.
I
Rushing to say that now we want to build a hospital.
If we're already in debt, I want to first find out before we continue. If we're already in debt, where is this 1.3 coming from? What is the answer to that? I want to first find out where is the money coming from.
The 1.3, it's a loan because they just approved that loan. And right now, because our national debt is at 41.8 trillion, and our debt per capita is 980,000 Ugandan shillings. So each Ugandan has to pay 980,000 Ugandan shillings. But if you look at the way events are going, by the end of this first quarter, you're going to see that each Ugandan will be having a debt per capita of 1 million. This is where politics is taking us. And this is why we are telling Ugandans, wake up, we fight these people.
Yeah.
So if our parliamentarians who are experts in fiscal policies are passing such things that we can't even accept in our society today, then it's high time we call upon all Ugandans. If you are a border rider and you have a certificate of senior 6, it's high time you went and started building a strategy to see that you come to parliament. If you are working in Owino, you have a senior 6 transcript. Guys, let's stand up and fight this regime because they are trying to look for money that is going to ensure that they buy each and every Ugandan in the 2021 elections. Now look at what's happening in Chankwanzi. Because all the resolutions they're going to pass, Museveni has to bribe the parliamentarians of NRM party. So whatever they're coming up that is nonsense in their literature of Chankwanzi, Museveni has to give them brown envelopes.
I'm gonna cut you off.
What kind of politics of brown envelopes do
I'm
we
gonna
have
cut
in
you.
our
I'm gonna
country?
cut you from there because that has not yet happened yet, and we cannot assume that that's what's gonna happen. But I want to bring you back. I want to bring you back. I understand the idea of building a hospital is well and good. That's a good idea. Or building a specialized hospital, that's a good idea. I understand that. And I get it so much, and I think I have also one person saying, I think the idea, Chibedi Cox is saying, I think the idea of having a specialized hospital is okay, but it was passed at the wrong time. What do you think should have happened? What do you think should have happened?
The issue is not the timing. Before even you equip what you have, how many Ugandans worry about getting treatment from America or UK or India? The majority of Ugandans worry about going to the health center that is near them and find their medicine for malaria. Exactly. The majority of the women that are giving birth worry about going to the maternity ward when they are ready to give birth and find there a nurse that is ready to attend to them. We've seen hospitals, people are getting drips from the floor. Before you improve the health sector, what you have right now, why even building a specialized hospital? Who is even going to go there? Because you're going to build and it's going to be expensive for Ugandans. Now you saw what they did to Mulago. How many Ugandans can afford Mulago? Why don't you equip and ensure that what you have in all these different areas, in the different districts, in the rural, they have at least the basic they need. Let people have the basic medicine for malaria. Let them be able to do simple things like someone needs a drip. Simple things like a blood transfusion, simple things like a doctor being there and present, simple things like medicine is not stolen from hospitals. You saw what happened with the NBS journalists who are trying to dig up the web of how government medicines are being stolen. Who was running after them? It is the government, the officers, the people, the soldiers, people of government. They were the ones, putting them behind bars. These guys were doing a job that the government wouldn't be interested in to know who is playing with the medicine, who is stealing the medicine. But the same government that is meant to protect them, put them behind bars. So it does not even make sense building it. Uganda does not need a specialized hospital right now because what they have, all the health centers, all the small facilities lack either the medicine, they lack the equipment, they lack the basic things you've seen at the hospital where I think it was a year ago too, where Besige went and there were maggots, there were rats in the hospital. That was up country. That is a sorry state, and you may find this is the only hospital in the district that is functional, but it's in a sorry state. Before you waste money on a specialized treatment of which that is not going to benefit most of Ugandans, because the MPs are worried about they are worried about the 100 of them who can't even afford to fly out, and they are forgetting about the 40 million Ugandans who do not even care about me going to Kenya to receive treatment, who only needs treatment for malaria and they want to go to the clinic next to them, but they cannot find the medicine because it was last stocked 2 years ago.
Andaman, if you're hearing us, what's your view on this matter? When you hear statements being said about what's happening right now in regards to the 1.3 trillion, what do you think? I know you already voiced your comments earlier saying it wasn't a good idea. You pretty much are saying the same exact thing at Sarah, but what do you say? I want you to give an offer us what we should have done, what your government should have done instead of the 1.2 money, the trillion that we borrowed. What should have been the answer to the situation? What do you think should have been done?
First of all, I'll represent my and speak about four people from the 5 different states in Uganda.
I think
Uganda.
No, any way you want to talk is fine. Anyway, Uganda is fine as well.
Ikibuzo kiri kyebambuuziza ekya gavumenti kiroozaako kitya okugulawo bino eri nemanyolamu eno projekiti ya muntu gavumenti yataddewo ekintu kino ng'enoonya weezibira ate erakawo kati ne baleka kino ekintu naye nga tukiri mu makulu tulina amalwaliro etagisa nga so lwaki tukola ekyasemba ebyeyinga kukolakatuli bulumi so esookupa tumusobola okulowoozamu senga bannayuganda ono Kyagulanyi wajjiramu okubanyumayingirirawo nanga tulina okwerera ajja kutyagendereza ensi yatulanyi and that's true kyekuko kirigaya maaso esaawa Sister Sarah njogere obulamu bwe batalina ati Bannayuganda bannansi
wogamba nti Councillor Chiribi, wogamba nti Bannayuganda bebereremu, which is also Hillary, what Hillary has also said, and I think everyone is voicing the same opinion. We mugamba nti Bannayuganda bebereremu. This is something that parliamentarians have already passed this. They have already passed this issue, and it's something that they've already considered. What do you expect the other Ugandans right now, people who don't have the power to actually do anything or impact change at this point in time? Oyagala wogamba nti bebereremu bakole chi? What can they do at this point? Because they're helpless right now. Oh, subira bakolechi.
Katogoberera mu kutogera ku teketa kisamani bakana kinama okay kakati se ya ina era kibes to nenda kupita kwenye nyo okulala palo kulona otu na magiza ko yako agara ko ya amani mo optani ko sibango na eta ne tira opposition ko ko ta exenta esigale aja kuba sigala wabe ko bale ne ko mo bele awwa obuzubira bwana sa telefoni Ibadah mereka juga aku jadi nak buka akabila ya era aku itu apa saja enggak itu dua bagai jadi kawan lalu kasih besar dapat mana itu kita nak
All right, Andaman, thank you, Bambi, for coming in. We know your network is not good right now, and we do apologize that people are not getting the best quality that they should have expected. We do apologize for that, but thank you so much for coming on and just talking to us. Not to blur your views, not to blur the way you understand the situation going, and offering us some advice on how we could tackle this situation. Earlier on in the week, I'm going to start with Leila because it's something she's very passionate about. Earlier on in the week, Honorable Kyagulanyi, or aka Bobby Wine, declared that he's ready to take on Museveni. Made it very public. Do we expect the entire opposition to go in and support him? What is happening? What are we going to expect in the next few weeks in regards to that statement that he made earlier?
Thank you very much. I love Honorable Kyagulanyi, aka Bobby Wine, so much. Just like he said, I'm so passionate about him. I really follow him every day, whatever he posts, his live videos. So according to what, let me also congratulate the Makerere University students. Thank you for what you did for us. Also let me congratulate Katerega. Okay, let me go back to your question before I congratulate the guild president and all that. But I'm going to get into Kyagulanyi, or our president's statement that he made today when he was at Mitchell Hall regarding to the question you've just asked. What he said, he's working with different people in different levels of politics, and they're making sure they're making sure they're going to appoint Chibuzo nandichize mu Luganda.
Let me help out. Let me help out.
Don't knock me out. Don't knock me out,
I'm not
Sarah.
knocking you out.
Don't do it. Don't do this.
Okay.
Chogera mu Luganda, it's all right.
Honorable Kyagulanyi mu bigambo bye yagambye bakolagana n'abakulembeze abawansi ab'omu districts oba ab'omu bitundu ebyenjawulo mu ggwanga ng'era baagala okukwata ku kwegatta era nze nga mugoberera ebiseera ebisinga ng'agamba ayogera ne Dr. Kiza Besigye ayogera n'abe-NRM boogera mu kwegatta era bw'abadde awa speech ku Mitchell Hall nga akwataganyiza abaana abadde.
He was in Magere. He was in his house in Magere.
What I saw were flags of Mitchell Hall and the students of Makerere University. I don't know. Okay, Sarah says, point of correction, His Excellency was in Magere. But what he said, he got these three students who had stood for guild president in Makerere. called them. Kubaddeko Kateregga, muzijukize kubaddeko ani?
Kateregga, and he's the guy who came second from Makerere as well.
Yes, bonna n'abayita n'abakwataganya era ne bahaginga olumaze alina ebigambo by'abagambya bye tutategedde naye nga alaga obumu n'abasaba tube ne unity era kye bali mu kulwanako ssaawa eno, the unity. If we have the opposition leaders unite and we can also have one person that can stand against Museveni, kyekyo kyagamba tugenda kuwuuta akalulu akaweze tekabbika bwatyo bwatugamba era agambye abaana be Makerere senga twabadde ffenna nga aba people power kuba people power eyakulembedde yabadde n'obululu 3,306 eyamuzeeko n'afuna obululu 3,332 eyamuzeeko difference yabadde ntono nnyo eyamuzeeko era omulala wa people power n'afuna obululu 2,000 kati ne tufuna owa FDC eyamuzeeko yabadde wa DP n'afuna obululu byabadde nga 4 owa FDC n'afuna obululu 2 owa NRM n'afuna obululu 100 n'abagamba senga ffenna twabadde tulina omuntu ogu tubadde tuyitawo buyisi with the 98%. That is what he's talking about. Ng'owa people power twatudde ffenna ne tugamba tulina omwana ogu tubadde tuyitawo n'obululu 9 bano bannaffe ne tubawaako 10 ne balugabana. Okitegeera, so it is about unity and I know they are working. Temujja kulaba bantu awogye bali abafumba temugenda balaba ku kamera naye nga people are working with him. He has a team that he works with. He's just not alone, and so the unity is going to happen.
Given if Bobby Wine, if honorable, if honorable employees, if we employ that same method, Nagamba, no, let's all the political parties in Uganda twegatte in order to bring down, if maybe 2021 Nagamba, okay, fina political parties twegatte into one being, and this is going to Sarah. Do you see other opposition leaders, other FDC or new formation or other political parties? Do you think they will have Kyagulanyi, do you think they will say yes to Kyagulanyi being the face of opposition that will take on Museveni? Do you see them saying yes to this idea? The idea that Bobby Wine just employed? Because
you see the challenge you have. Even in opposition, you have dictators. As much as we keep shouting Museveni is a dictator, we have opposition dictators who do not want to languish power. Someone is in opposition for 20 years, but they feel they were sent by God to stay in that place until when cows return home. So we have opposition dictators who feel until when they test a presidentship of Uganda, they should not leave
give their positions up.
And then you have people who are looking at Kyagulanyi one as young. Yes, he's young, but we can't stop him from what he has come up with a wave that is moving forward. So being young is not a determinant factor for someone not serving. Obama came in as young, and he did a wonderful job. Then you have the African mentality of thinking, oh, he's a young boy, or he doesn't know much in politics. Bobby Wine doesn't need to have a master's degree in politics. Museveni himself is a senior six. Museveni himself is a dropout from Tanzania. In fact, all Museveni, what he has is a senior 6 certificate from Montale. Museveni doesn't have any qualification in politics. Museveni himself went to the bush. No one sent Museveni to the bush. Museveni enforced himself on us. He went to the bush. No one sent him. Some of us were not even there. Our parents maybe were pregnant with us. No one, the 70% of this generation never sent Museveni anywhere. In fact, we are looking at him as someone who has enforced himself on us. And he doesn't want to leave. So Museveni, there is no school he went to. All what he has done over the years, 33 years, is experience. And then, maybe in the beginning he did a good job, and then he has turned out to be the worst. Because the 10-point programs of Museveni coming onto power, and you see what you see right now, if Museveni of today meets the one of 86, the one of 86 will give this one a serious beating. A serious beating that this one will not even recover. He will be taken to hospital and will not come out of there. Because they are completely two different people. So the opposition they have nothing to do right now. Because the opposition has been dividing our vote for a very long time. And then for me, I've seen people say, people should not maybe talk about Dr. Besigye. I respect Dr. Besigye as one of the core pillars of championing change in Uganda. But if you have his camp talking about, basically decampaigning the Endagamontu campaign, I'm like, what is your other strategy? they're not telling us they're not telling us this, because we expect them to say, if the government is not working, let's go for an uprising. They're not saying anything. So who are they working for? Because if you're decampaigning Ugandans to go and get in Ndagamuntu, that means you're giving Museveni a free vote. Museveni, we have had cows vote in Nakasongola. Nakasongola, you have Museveni getting 100%, yet most of the land has animals and trees. Museveni has been winning 75% because people don't go out and vote. We are saying, if we have a block vote where all Ugandans, last campaigns you had 60% of Ugandans go out and vote. How about this time we take it to 80% of Ugandans going out to vote and we have a block vote? So if you have people in opposition, I've seen the likes of Ingrid, busily campaign the Ndagamuntu, and they've not told us exactly what the other strategy is for us to get power from President Museveni, because that's our ultimate goal. Yeah. Then they are confusing us. I do not see, literally what I see, unless, God have, there is mercy, I do not see the opposition, especially the opposition of Dr. Besigye, coming together, because he is really still interested in running. And I don't blame people who say he's a mole, because he has showcased some of the things that show that he's a mole. And and you cannot take away people's arguments or opinions. But but I think it would be a very good idea for people because I know the rest. If you see the likes of Mau, the likes of people you would expect to be on the other side, the JMA president, you see all those are behind Bobby Wine. If you see some other parties, they are likely to come behind him, because they know what Bobby Wine has now. He has the X factor. He has the voice. When he says something, he has the youth behind him. No matter whether he understands physical policy, whether he calls it physical policy or he calls it Charlie Gonza, Ugandans do not even care, because majority of the Ugandans don't even know what is physical policy. and what has disappointed us, the architects of physical policy, the intellectuals sold a crane bank on a WhatsApp group with no order of sale. We do not know where the money went. The intellectuals, the masters of fiscal policy, are giving a 1.23 trillion to an investor who is supposed to come with their own money, but they're giving away money. So you wonder, where is common sense? What fiscal policy are they talking? Because fiscal policies those are policies, means of controlling government spending. But people are spending money, and money is being looted everywhere. So where are the intellectuals? So at the end of the day, what I'm asking Ugandans, whether the people we would expect to, because I see the other people coming together, but if Dr. Besigye doesn't come together, we will force him out. Because 20 years taking over the mantle of opposition, it is high time he takes a back seat and let him campaign for someone else. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense us keeping on fighting Museveni, yet we have opposition dictators as well.
That's true. Hillary, before we finish off to the story, I want you to just sum it up in a little bit. The MOOC presidents and MOOC guild, them winning that opposition, they're in the name of people power. Them winning the guild presidency for MOOC and Chambogo, how does it affect the outcome of 2021? I mean, we're building momentum for people power. It's not yet recognized as a party, but they're building momentum for people power. How will this affect the voting of 2021?
Yes, before I come to that point, let me just also add on briefly what you had said, Sarah. Because I totally agree with Sarah that there is no way I see the opposition uniting, because our opposition has failed to walk the talk. And greed is killing FDC the same way greed killed UPC party. So if you, as Kizza Besigye, you've been always telling Ugandans, one Uganda, one people, that power is in the people. And right now, the people who were supporting you for 20 years, they are saying right now, enough is enough. We want you off the scene of our political arena. And you're not listening to the voice of the people. Yet for the last, 4 presidential elections, you've been telling us Ugandans that we have the power. Because Kizza Besigye used that statement a lot. So right now, the people are saying, Kizza Besigye, we are tired of you also. Pave way for a new face of opposition. But Kizza Besigye has given us deaf ears. So it shows also that we have another tyrant leader in forum for democratic change. If you listen to the rhetoric, also the diction that is used by the president of FDC, Patrick Amriat, he shows no sign of unity. Then you wonder, where are we going as a nation? Because Amriat is still insisting, Kizza Besigye, that Besigye won the election of 2016. And they're telling us they have the people government. So what took them long to form the people government in 2016 that they are forming today in 2019? They shouldn't take Ugandans, for granted. Because we are tired of that cheap politics. Because right now, as young people, as millennials, we want to see a Uganda that is moving forward.
That's moving.
But if you go back to the politics of 1980, of Obote 1, then Kizza Besigye has lost the vision also for this country. And I clearly now agree with Museveni when he says some opposition leaders have no vision. Because if you came with a clear vision of transforming our country, you said people have power, you would abide by the power of the people.
Yeah.
Why don't you listen to the voices of the people? Because it's evident enough that every corner, north, east, central, south, and west, people are saying it's Bobi Wine who should be the face of opposition.
And they're not asking him to see, they're not asking Dr. Besigye to go home and disappear off the scene.
Exactly.
They are telling him,
Take a
back
back
up
seat.
someone.
Back up someone.
Back
Pick
up someone. Back up someone. Let's build the momentum right now. But he still wants also to
still be the face
exactly.
of it.
Exactly. So as opposition, because you see that this DP is showing the signs of unity. So for DP, you could see that, yes, they want us to unite and take this country forward. So UPC, you also see some hopes of unity. But the challenge is now FDC. They believe that they are destined to be the face of opposition.
Yeah.
But that time has come to an end. We should, we should accept the reality that there's a new pressure group called People Power, and we should front that one candidate. I'm sure beyond doubt Kizza Besigye, Amriat, and their colleagues are going to send someone to appear on the ballot paper. But we should say, focused, because we know what we want, and our numbers can still, enable us to go to the State House. Even if we get 51%, that's enough. So if FDC and other parties share the remaining, we need to worry about that. Then back to the question you asked about, the president, the guild president of Chambogo University and Makerere University. This is a sign of hope. And it's a signal to the president that, yes, the young people have now spoken. He should listen to them. They have said, we are tired of tyranny. We want now new ideologies to take ourselves forward as a nation. So, and for many years, you've seen that even in Makerere, it has been a history of having guild presidents from the opposition. Because it's very, on rare circumstances, we have had guild presidents from the ruling party. So to me, I think the message is very loud and clear and is spreading to all universities. So it's happening also in Nkumba University. They are saying enough is enough. We want someone who has ideologies of people power. Then it's going also to universities like Mbara University, Gulu University. It will go far also in Rwenzori University. So everywhere. So we want to see, at least I'm happy that now the youth are trying to embrace this ideology of power belongs to them, and they should, stand for different political positions. Sure. Because by doing so, this is how we can, air out our issues. This is how we can, also engage in policy decisions or policy makings of our country to ensure that we empower each and every young person in our country. So I believe that it's a good sign of hope, but we still have also a challenge. If we can go to rural areas and also create more awareness about our agenda, then I think it will be a very good move for our pressure group. Because in very many cases, we've seen that the challenge is in remote areas or rural areas. Because in central urban areas, we're always doing well. Because Makerere, for years and years, has been known for FDC or DP. And right now, it has said, no, let's embrace the new ideology of people power. So it's a threat to Mr. Museveni.
All right.
And I'm sure beyond doubt he may even think of bribing this young man to ensure that he turns to NRM, but it's so hard.
Can I drop in something? If you follow politics of tertiary institutions, tertiary institutions really are a very big determinant, and governments always fear tertiary institutions. You've seen how Makerere University has operated for a number of years. There are times when they've shut it down because when they come on forcefully, they want it done. You've seen when Makerere University starts up a strike. And one of the things Makerere University demonstrated yesterday, they caught some of the NRM guys who are giving out money. They had changed it into bills of 2,000 shillings. And they caught all these guys and they were taking them to police. So what is it telling you about young students who are vibrant is people are going to be more on the lookout, even out there, in where they parliamentary vote or a vote that takes up the president. People are going to be looking out who is giving out money.
Yep.
But again, this is, I know people in the ruling party and the other opposition members who are so adamant about joining the People Power movement are scared. Because just like he mentioned, Hillary, these tertiary institutions, especially Makerere, has always been a DP or FDC. Now, People Power that is not even yet 2 years old, this is a slogan, a movement that started almost a year ago, has come up and it's sweeping tertiary institutions. As in, literally, if you don't stand on the People Power ticket, it is bad for you. Look at what is happening in primary schools right now. You've seen kids standing for either librarianship or standing for head girl, head boy, and you see their posters have People Power, our
People
power.
Power.
Yes, because even this is eating up even in primary schools. Yeah. So, you may think you're stopping Bobby Wine, and I saw, what happened in Chankwazi where they want to uplift the presidential term limit to 45. Whatever they want to do, whatever is being planted right now is something that is going to take up Uganda that Museveni and nobody will not be able to stop. Because if you go to young kids right now in schools, they can be able to tell you about People Power. They can be able to debate and talk about their schools, why power should belong to the people. Or they should be able, I'm standing for librarianship because I want all of you to be able to access books. Yeah. Because the library belongs to you. So the kids from the young age, from primary schools are getting it. So universities are now getting it. And I've seen also other institutes are also getting it. So this should worry the movement a lot. It should worry the opposition a lot, especially the opposition that are resistant. It has, and we should always thank Bobby Wine for opening. You know, Dr. Besigye used to say it, but he never expounded it to make Ugandans. He used to say one love, one people, one Uganda. But he never expounded it the way Bobby Wine has done to make everyone Ugandan believe that power belongs to you. Yep. You are the reason why Museveni keeps in power. Wake up one morning, don't vote for him, vote for opposition. Let's look at the reruns that have been happening in other districts. They were opposition leaders. Let's take a clear example of what happened in Arua. The member of parliament was in prison, his agents were in prison, and the NRM candidate, Nusrat Peru, they had all the leeway to steal the vote because no one was guarding it. The day of voting, the leader, the opposition candidate was in prison and his agents. But people came out in big numbers. They came out like a mammoth of rabbits, voted, and there's no way they could steal that vote because it was a block vote. So it is going to eat up everywhere in Uganda, and it's good that people have understood these messages, whether in schools, whether everywhere, People Power is going to reign, whether they stop, because if people understand the message that the power belongs to them, even if tomorrow we wake up and the Parliament passes the law that for standing for presidential campaign is going to be 45 years. Any person Bobby Wine chooses and he stands behind who is 45 years is going to win the vote. Because what they are forgetting, in any way they want to, they're trying to cut off the branches and leaving the tree. And forgetting, when you cut off the branches, in 2 days, some sprouts are going to come out. So they do not know that they are...
I just want to throw a little bit of time.
They do not know that the tree is still rooted deep down in the ground and it is being fertilized, and anything you cut off in 2 days is going to grow. So Ugandans have understood the message. Anyone, whether he stopped Bobby Wine because he's not yet 45, anyone he stands behind, and I don't want even anyone to think of, oh, if they stop Bobby Wine, it should be Besigye. Let Besigye take a back seat. 20 years, we've seen enough. We want someone new. We want new ideas. We do not want to start grooming opposition dictators. Because you have no right to tell Museveni to leave when you can't leave yourself.
Babide, what do you want to conclude, and then we can end the program?
Okay, what I would like to conclude or add on to what Sarah is saying, this is taking me back to what His Excellency Bobi Wine tells us, Funa endagamuntu. They're just simple, Funa endagamuntu, just 2 words. And it is sounding in every Ugandan ear right now.
Yeah.
And it's so important that right now, there is no way the government is going to steal the vote. Trust me, Funa endagamuntu is very important. And people love, I talk to people at home and they're like, tuzirina. Endagamuntu is becoming a big deal. Endagamuntu egenda kujjako Museveni, omuntu tagambe endagamuntu tesobola. Chikola, ategenda chikola. Biri abiri mugumu Funa endagamuntu yo gitereke beera nayo. Tugenda kumakala tetwetaaga sente, tugenda kwekunga like Sarah's been saying, abaana bavaayo Arua. Out of all this intimidation nga tebagala kumanya mwakirabye Makerere, it is a very big sign. Abaana abe Makerere bakumya akalulu kaabwe, baana ba ghetto, wabaddewo amagye, wabaddewo sente, naye bayiseewo na kalulu. Era Museveni, Muzeeyi Museveni, tugenda kukuba akalulu baby, ojja kawulira. Tugenda kukuba akalulu 221, tugenda kakuuma, tuli wano tetuleekaana naye tugenda kukola. We are going to sensitize as much as we can. N'abantu mu byalo, sabuni mumunaabe, sukali mumunywe kuwa sente zammwe. Ezo sente zibabawa zammwe, temuzigaana, muzirye kuba zammwe. Si za Museveni, si za government ye. Sente zammwe za musolo, muzirye, funa endagamuntu yo, bw'otuuka wali, tiikinga wano.
All right.
Before you hang up, one of the things that we've done very well, especially the People Power movement, is to come out clearly from day one that we do not have money. Whatever you're doing, you do it for your country. It's like we are willing to sacrifice whatever we sacrifice. We come here every Saturday, sacrifice our time because we're doing it for our country. We want and this is the message you've taken back home. That's why you see when people are standing out to make sure they monitor and see the vote is not stolen, people are going to do it not because they've been paid. People are going to do it because you know what? They want to save Uganda, they want to see better Uganda, they want to see medical services coming to them, they want to see better service delivery, they want to see that after graduation at least you have availability of jobs. You do not want to see jobs going to a certain type of individuals in the country. You're going to have we do not want to see our young girls and boys celebrating going to Saudi Arabia and they return back in wheelchairs. Exactly. They've been used, they've been brutalized. That's not what we want to see. Right. So every Ugandan now at least they're getting the message that the People Power movement we sacrifice. We are behaving like Jesus. We are sacrificing our energy, our time for change. And which change comes to all. Because I do not, it has been that the message has come out early because you do not want people to start asking for Bobi Wine tomorrow for money, of which he does not have. And people don't hesitate because I know when the movement gives you money, please share that money. I am waiting to see when that money is coming. If no one is calling me for that money, please give me that money. I want to eat it, but I will never stop advocating for change. All right.
I want to thank everyone who has tuned in online. We haven't had a chance to read all the comments because we had so many topics that we wanted to touch base on. But I want to thank Tatina. You've made a lot of comments. Thank you so much. It's a long comment, but I'll make sure that I give these guys a chance to read through and reply to all your comments. Lameka and Subuga, thank you so much. Junju Najibu, thank you for tuning in. Onji Effect, thank you so much for tuning in. Irinyero Duwamvu Saga Diogane MM Wemanyi, thank you so much for always watching and commenting. Victor Mukasa, thank you so much. Frida Sebalu, as always, you are a champion. Thank you so much for supporting the show and always sharing the page with everyone else. This has been Uganda at Crossroads. We talk about what happens in Uganda. It's a platform for you guys to express your views, your advice, your comments, anything you think is happening in Uganda. Please continue to give us your support and talk to us. Leave us a message if there's a topic you want us to touch base. We'll always bring people who are informed about that particular topic and have them talk about it and break it down for you so that you guys know what to expect. We want to thank you again for always loving on the page. This is Campfire TV. The session is called Campfire TV and we're always airing on Live MTV Live on Facebook. Thank you again for the never-ending love and support for the show. Continue to stay tuned. We have Love, Sex and Money with your regular Koja and singers who are coming on next. So continue to stay online and share the page. For now, I've been your host with the Mostess, Alexandria. I wish you a lovely day. Bye.
so hard. If it wasn't for this, I would take a plane to Campfire. Sibari manjakare no show. Campfire, singuliriza siringeno. Campfire, ebitu simba nebitu gatai. Alexander, mama suna tugende. We talk about relationships, stability, and the cause of diversity. Versatile ways, optimism is got me thinking I should say to listen. Campfire talk show. Oh, yeah.